While the war brought immense suffering, it also catalyzed changes that shaped the modern world order, promoting international cooperation, the pursuit of justice, and the protection of human dignity. World War II, spanning from 1939 to 1945, was a global conflict of unparalleled scale and consequence, fundamentally altering the course of history. Over 30 nations participated in a war that touched every continent, resulting in staggering human and material losses. The war's origins, major events, and aftermath continue to be studied extensively, not only to understand its profound impact, but also to draw lessons for future generations. The origins of World War II are rooted in the unresolved tensions of World War I, economic instability, and the rise of totalitarian regimes. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, left Germany humiliated and economically crippled. These severe reparations and territorial losses devastated the German economy. The Great Depression of the 1930s only worsened global economic woes, destabilizing governments and fostering radical ideologies. Adolf Hitler skillfully exploited this resentment, promoting a vision of German renewal and the overturning of the Versailles terms. The interwar period witnessed the emergence of authoritarian regimes driven by nationalist and expansionist ambitions. In Germany, Hitler's Nazi regime combined militarism, racism, and propaganda to consolidate power. Italy, under Benito Mussolini, sought to revive the grandeur of the Roman Empire. In Japan, militarists pursued imperial expansion in Asia, driven by a need for resource and a belief in Japanese supremacy. The League of Nations, established after World War I to maintain peace, failed to prevent aggression. It lacked enforcement mechanisms and suffered from the absence of key powers like the United States. Japan's invasion of Manchuria, Italy's conquest of Ethiopia, and Germany's annexations highlighted the League's inability to respond effectively, emboldening aggressor nations. In the 1930s, Western democracies, particularly Britain and France, adopted a policy of appeasement, allowing Hitler to expand German territory unchecked. The Anschluss, or union with Austria, in 1938, and the annexation of the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia were justified by Hitler as efforts to unify German-speaking peoples. The Munich Agreement of 1938, seen as a triumph of diplomacy at the time, ultimately emboldened Hitler's aggression. The invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939 marked the official start of World War II. Employing blitzkrieg tactics, a strategy of rapid, coordinated attacks using air power, tanks, and infantry, Germany quickly overran Poland. Britain and France, honoring their commitments to Poland, declared war on Germany on September 3, 1939. Following the invasion of Poland, a period of relative inactivity, known as the Phony War, ensued on the Western Front. In April 1940, Germany resumed its offensive, capturing Denmark and Norway to secure strategic resources and bases. The subsequent invasion of Belgium, the Netherlands, and France demonstrated the effectiveness of blitzkrieg tactics, culminating in the fall of France by June 1940. After the fall of France, Hitler turned his attention to Britain. The Battle of Britain was a pivotal air campaign aimed at achieving German air superiority as a precursor to invasion. Despite intense bombing, including the Blitz on London, the Royal Air Force successfully defended Britain, aided by radar technology and the resilience of its pilots and civilians. This marked the first major defeat for Nazi Germany. World War II's theaters of conflict spanned Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Pacific. The war's global nature involved diverse strategies, alliances, and civilian participation. The Eastern Front was the largest and deadliest theater of the war. In June 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. Initially successful, the German advance was halted by the Soviet defense at Moscow and the brutal winter. The Battle of Stalingrad marked a turning point, with Soviet forces encircling and defeating the German Sixth Army. This victory initiated a Soviet counteroffensive that would push German forces back to Berlin. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, brought the United States into the war. In the Pacific, the conflict was characterized by intense naval battles and island-hopping campaigns. Key battles, such as Midway and Guadalcanal, turned the tide in favor of the Allies. The Pacific Campaign culminated in the capture of strategic islands like Iwo Jima and Okinawa, setting the stage for an invasion of Japan. The North African Campaign saw intense battles for control of vital supply routes and resources. The British Eighth Army, led by General Bernard Montgomery, defeated German and Italian forces under General Erwin Rommel at El Alamein. The subsequent Allied invasion of Sicily and Italy in 1943 led to Mussolini's downfall, although German forces continued to resist in Italy until 1940. World War II was marked by the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of other marginalized groups. Nazi ideology dehumanized Jews and other minorities, leading to atrocities committed in ghettos, labor camps, and extermination camps. The Holocaust remains a harrowing reminder of the consequences of hatred and totalitarianism. By 1943, the Allies began launching counteroffensives that shifted the momentum of the war. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history, landing on Normandy's beaches. The success of D-Day marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe. Paris was liberated by August 1944, and Allied forces continued their advance toward Germany. The Soviet Union, bolstered by victories at Stalingrad and Kursk, launched offensives that liberated Eastern European nations from German occupation. By early 1945, Soviet forces were advancing on Berlin, where the final battles of the European theater unfolded. The war's conclusion unfolded in two dramatic chapters. In May 1945, Soviet forces captured Berlin, prompting Hitler's suicide in his bunker. Germany's unconditional surrender followed, and on May 7, 1945, marking the end of the war in Europe, known as V-Day. In the Pacific, the United States sought to end the war swiftly. Atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, and Nagasaki on August 9, 1945, resulting in Japan's surrender on September 2, 1945, known as VJ Day. These bombings remain controversial, raising ethical questions about the use of nuclear weapons. World War II reshaped the modern world, leaving an indelible mark on geopolitics, society, and culture. The war resulted in an estimated 70 to 85 million deaths, including unprecedented civilian casualties. Entire cities were destroyed, economies devastated, and millions displaced. The war established the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers, setting the stage for the Cold War. The United Nations was founded in 1945 to promote peace and prevent future conflicts. The war weakened European colonial empires, accelerating movements for independence in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Wartime innovations, including radar, jet engines, and nuclear energy, spurred post-war technological progress. Socially, the war advanced roles for women and minorities, influencing civil rights movements worldwide. Literature, film, and art have continued to explore the themes and lessons of the war, from the horrors of the Holocaust to the heroism of resistance movements. World War II, which lasted from 1939 to 1945, was one of the most devastating conflicts in human history, involving over 30 countries and resulting in tens of millions of deaths. The war concluded with the unconditional surrender of the Axis powers, beginning with Nazi Germany in May and 45, and followed by Imperial Japan in August 1945. The European theater of the war ended on May 8, 1945, known as Victory in Europe, VE Day, after Adolf Hitler's suicide and the fall of Berlin to Allied forces. Germany's surrender marked the end of a brutal regime responsible for the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews and millions of others were systematically murdered. The defeat of the Nazis brought hope for rebuilding and a determination to prevent such atrocities from ever occurring again. In the Pacific, the war continued until August 15, 1945, when Japan announced its surrender following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States. These bombings, coupled with the Soviet Union's declaration of war on Japan and rapid invasion of Japanese-held territories in Manchuria, led to Japan's formal surrender on September 2, 1945, officially ending the war. The aftermath of World War II reshaped the global political landscape. The United Nations was established in 1945 to promote international cooperation and prevent future conflicts. The war also led to the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers, setting the stage for the Cold War, a prolonged period of geopolitical tension and ideological rivalry that would last for decades. Europe was left in ruins, with much of its infrastructure destroyed and economies shattered. The U.S. introduced the Marshall Plan in 1948 to aid in the reconstruction of Europe, while Germany was divided into East and West, symbolizing the growing divide between the Western democracies and the Eastern Communist bloc. In Asia, the end of Japanese imperial rule led to significant political changes. Countries such as Korea and Vietnam, once occupied by Japan, would later experience their own struggles for independence and civil conflicts. The war also accelerated the decolonization movement, as former colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East began seeking self-rule. World War II had profound and lasting impacts on technology, society, and global politics. It spurred rapid advancements in science, including radar, jet engines, and nuclear energy, while also highlighting the destructive potential of total war. The atrocities committed during the conflict led to the development of international laws governing war crimes and human rights. In conclusion, World War II ended with the defeat of fascist regimes and a global commitment to peace and reconstruction. While the war brought immense suffering, it also catalyzed changes that shaped the modern world order, promoting international cooperation, the pursuit of justice, and the protection of human dignity. Thank you for watching Historical Moments. We hope you enjoyed this trip through history. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories from the past. Until next time, keep exploring the moments that changed history.